So let's jump right in. So now you're trying to make your dream a reality, and this is where a lot of the programs that we launch and own in the late stage builders team are kind of kicking in. So there are a number of programs that we own here, right? So one is the Accelerator program. I'm going to go into quite a bit of detail on accelerators. Next one is Soft Noise, which is a platform that connects the builders in our ecosystem with investors. And then there's the Builders Fund. So think about early stage capital, pre-seed capital into your kind of emerging nascent idea. And then lastly, we have Phil VC that I'm also going to highlight today in a little bit. So two pieces. Accelerators. What are accelerators? What is it that we're doing? And I'm super, super excited to have Carlos, Gabriel, and Sean here today, who are DMDs of a couple of our accelerator programs. So what is it that we do in accelerators? Imagine you are a founder, you just came out of a grant, you're now kind of gelling, coming together, but you don't know how to create a legal entity. You don't know how to hire and fire. You don't know how to fundraise, and you don't have networks. This kind of padding, the education and the relevant networks is what we provide in an accelerator program. What does that look like? An accelerator program kind of is a concentrated, often 3 months effort where our partners like the Tachyons, like the Fabers, go out into the wild. They'll go to the big hackathons, they go to the leading universities, and they look for people like you. Founders that are leaning into the Filecoin and IPFS ecosystems, people that might be on the fringes of the ecosystem but are looking to leverage our technologies. And they want to get in touch with you and see, hey, do you have the potential to become a venture-backable company? And I want to just briefly stand still and elaborate on what it is, what I mean by a venture-backable idea. If we think about the amazing founders that are applying to our accelerator programs, we want you to have thought and identified a couple of key pieces that make and break a business, right? So there are kind of 3 big buckets that we expect you to have thought about before you even apply, right? And then as your application comes in, I am seeing it, the team is seeing it, people like Gabriel and Carlos are seeing it. You should be able to present concisely and with much precision what it is that you would like to do around these 3 buckets, and I'm going to go through them one by one. Does that work? Like, do I see nodding heads? Excellent. Okay. So the first bucket in defining and drawing out your idea is the feasibility bucket, right? So you're going to come to us and you're going to present your idea, and we want to see that this is an idea that is actually feasible. It's feasible to build with the technology that exists today, but it's also feasible to build with the team that you currently have. If there's a mismatch between what we see in your team and what it is that you are intending to build, likely your application is going to be, somewhat weaker. Secondly, we want to see a desirable idea, and here we are looking for strong arguments in your pitch deck, in your application, as to why there are users out there that are actually suffering a real and recurring friction that you guys address with your startup idea. And then the third one, and this is an important one, is the viability, right? So Protocol Labs, as you know, operates a lot in this kind of open source sphere where a lot of the software that we built is free to use. In the accelerator program, we are interfacing with big venture funds, right? And these venture funds have an obligation to produce returns for their investors. Hence, the startups that we're sourcing and the ideas that we're looking for in this particular effort with our acceleration partners are those that actually have a business model that can create outsized returns in, on a 3, 5, 10-year horizon. Does that make sense to kind of like the builders here in the fund and how we kind of scope this piece out? Do I see nodding heads? I think I see nodding heads. Perfect. So what does a what does an accelerator look like? What's kind of like the archetype? Think YC. A lot of what we do, the Tachyons, the Fabers, are modeled after this YC model, right? So it's a 3-month project. You are going to go through a number of interviews. We are going to pressure test you on the 3 kind of buckets that I've outlined earlier. Then you are going to be selected, and then the program starts. It's going to be intensive. It's going to be 3 months. Every week you will have multiple check-ins. You'll be matched with mentors. You'll be provided seed capital. And then, you are sprinting into this big objective, which is called the demo day. On demo day, you are going to have, you're going to be prepared for fundraising. You're going to have your data room ready, which is something that, investors expect you to have ready by that point. You're going to have a concise pitch that speaks to exactly the points that are going to make your business a billion-dollar idea. And then you're going to pitch, and you're going to be one-on-one there asking questions to investors and being asked really detailed and incisive questions by venture capitalists. Hopefully, you're going to get funded. Currently, in most of our strongest programs, we have a really, really strong investment rate. Throughout the last year, we had about 80% of all the companies that made it into an accelerator venture funded by the end of the program, right? So that's an extremely strong number. We have a lot of eyes on our ecosystem, and we want to keep that bar high, even in a slower market. As you join an accelerator program, you might ask yourself, hey, is it worth the commitment, right? Like it's a lot of time that we are going to, take out of your schedule. We are going to demand that time. We're going to be quite demanding of your overall capacity. You will need to maybe scrap some pieces of your social calendar. We might even want you to travel, right? So for the Techstars program, we flew everybody into Seattle, and we co-located all of the team in a co-working space for 3 months, and that is what it is, and you are going to feel like you are in school. Is it worth it? I am standing here, I'm biased, but I'm going to tell you it is, right? What you're going to get is not just the in-program support, but there's a lot that comes after that, right? There's a lot that comes after that. There is things like PLN. You're going to become part of the Protocol Labs network. You're going to get tax advice, right? Even post-program. You're going to get access to the best legal companies within crypto. Sometimes we even sponsor your audits. We fly you out for Founders Day. Who here has been at Founders Day a couple days ago? Seeing a couple hands, right? So at Founders Day, we had 80 founders, like portfolio companies that we invested in, come together. Juan was, himself doing the session on like, what are your most pressing needs? Tell us what they are and tell us how we can help, right? These things are invaluable. You are now talking to a person that has built billion-dollar products and is willing to sit down with you for extended time and talk about your most pressing frictions. Like that is PLN, and that is how we provide value. Another piece how we provide value, and we're very, very proud of it, is Phil VC. Phil VC is a recurring series of demo days that we are holding in the financial capitals of the world. The last one was in Singapore at the fringes of Token 2049. And what it was we prepped the startups, we invited the top investors globally, flew all of them into Singapore, put them into the room, and basically locked them in with our startups, right? Closed the doors behind them. And the startups were pitching 3-minute rapid-fire pitches to a couple of $1 trillion in the room. That's worth like quickly standing still for, right? So the investors were in the rooms with the startups. Investors could immediately, right there, signal their interest in investing into these companies, and hundreds of introductions were made. So most of the startups that participated in Phil VC are funded today, right? So if you guys are interested in getting access to all of these services, PLN, Phil VC, I didn't even touch on Soft Noise today, I highly encourage you to apply to our accelerator programs. You can get in touch via these email addresses at the very bottom here. And yeah, I would love to hear from you. I would love for you to find me throughout the day. And yeah, let's build some amazing startups. Thank you, guys.